The Mystery of Room No. 1046. It was a cold morning in Kansas City.
The Mystery of Room No. 1046. It was a cold morning in Kansas City when a man checked into the Hotel President, a tall, quiet building standing firm against the chilly winds of January 1935. His name, at least according to the hotel register, was Roland T. Owen, but there was little else known about him. He had no luggage and his appearance was unremarkable, just an ordinary man, perhaps in his late 20s, dressed simply in a suit. He asked for a room on the 10th floor and, after some brief exchanges with the hotel staff, he was given the key to room 1046. For a few days, everything seemed normal. Hotel employees reported that Owen was a quiet man who hardly spoke, mostly keeping to himself. Occasionally, they heard him on the phone, but never long enough for anyone to glean anything of importance. The most peculiar thing was the way he'd sometimes behave in the hallways, walking around the floor, pacing as if anxious or waiting for someone. Then, on the night of January 3rd, things took a dark turn. A maid, who was cleaning nearby, was startled by strange noises coming from room 1046. The sounds were unnerving, yelling, shouting, followed by what seemed like the unmistakable sound of a struggle. Concerned, she went to the door and knocked, but received no answer. She knocked again. Finally, she heard a weak voice from inside. "Everything's fine. Nothing to worry about." Suspicious but uncertain, she left the hallway, but the night had only just begun. Around 7 p.m., a bellboy was called to the room by Owen himself, who asked for a drink. The bellboy was surprised to see the man looking disheveled, his shirt half undone. He didn't seem hurt, but there was an odd sense of tension in the air. The bellboy went to fetch the drink, but when he returned, Owen was gone. Only a few minor personal items remained in the room, and the bed was untouched. But just after midnight, the horror truly unfolded. A brutal scene awaited the hotel staff when they finally entered room 1046 at the request of the police. Owen's body was found in the room, lying on the floor in a pool of blood. He had been stabbed multiple times, and his wounds were horrific, a mixture of deep cuts and abrasions. Strangely, there were no signs of forced entry. No one had heard anything more after the struggle earlier, and the room was eerily quiet now. The investigation quickly hit dead ends. The man's true identity remained a mystery, as did the events leading to his death. No one in the hotel recalled ever seeing him before, and his personal effects offered little to go on. No fingerprints, no address, and no relatives came forward to claim him. The most bizarre detail? Roland T. Owen wasn't even his real name. But no one ever learned what his true identity was. Even more chilling was the cryptic message he had left with the bellboy on the night of his death. As he had made his way out of the room earlier, Owen had said, "I'll be back in a minute." He never returned. Rumors began circulating, and wild theories sprouted. Had Owen been involved in something sinister? Was he being chased by someone? The truth behind room 1046 and the death of Roland T. Owen remained elusive, drawing people into its mystery. Was he a victim of a love affair gone wrong, or was it something darker, a message to someone, a threat that had followed him through the halls of the hotel? The case, never solved, continues to baffle and intrigue. The investigation. By the time Detective James Riley arrived at the scene, the room had already been sealed off. The body of Roland T. Owen was sent to the coroner, but the cause of death was clear. He had been stabbed multiple times. His throat had been slit with surgical precision. No one had checked in under that name. No one came forward to claim his body. His personal belongings were sparse, with only a suitcase filled with basic clothes, a few toiletries, and nothing that pointed to who he really was. The hotel staff had no memory of him beyond the last 2 days. He had made no mention of where he was from or where he was going. It was as though he had just appeared. Detective Riley questioned the hotel staff, but none could explain what had happened that night. They reported hearing strange sounds from room 1046, the soft, low hum of a phone conversation that sounded more like a whisper than a regular call. The bellboy who'd made rounds reported seeing Owen standing near the door late at night, looking down the hallway as if expecting someone. The only clue, apart from the body, was a strange set of scratches on the walls, too faint to be easily explained. The unsolved case. Despite hours of investigation, Detective Riley came up with little. There was no sign of forced entry, no indication that Owen had been expecting anyone. His death didn't seem to be connected to the robbery, and there were no witnesses who could shed light on what happened. What had driven Roland T. Owen to choose room 1046? Why had he seemed so unsettled, so terrified, when the staff checked on him? And who, or what, had attacked him in the dead of night? Theories about room 1046 started to emerge. Whispers of a curse that haunted the room, a malevolent force that claimed the lives of anyone who stayed too long, began circulating. The scratches on the walls, the eerie silence, the phone line cut at the exact moment of Owen's death. Could they all point to something darker than just a simple murder? In the end, Roland T. Owen's true identity was never discovered. No one claimed his body, and the case went cold. Room 1046 was locked away, and never rented out again. The hotel was sold to new owners, but the mystery of room 1046 remained, a shadow hanging over the building. And still, to this day, no one knows who Roland T. Owen really was, or what happened to him in room 1046 that night. The whispers in the walls are said to still be heard by those brave enough to listen. There have been a few interesting developments over the years that have added some layers to the case. While no new concrete evidence has been found to conclusively solve the case, there have been recent findings and theories that have sparked new interest in the investigation. The discovery of new clues. In 2019, a team of researchers studying unsolved historical crimes uncovered a few more pieces of information. They discovered old police files that had been previously overlooked. The files included additional witness statements that hadn't been made public, most notably one from a guest who had stayed on the same floor during Owen's visit. This guest reported hearing strange whispers and muffled voices coming from room 1046 in the days leading up to Owen's death. The guest also claimed that Owen had been arguing with someone in the hallway late one night. This witness described Owen's voice as agitated, but could not identify the other person he was speaking with. Could this person have been the one who attacked Owen? The witness's statement suggests a possible confrontation just hours before the murder. A possible identity connection. In 2021, a historian specializing in unsolved crimes published a book that explored the possibility that Roland T. Owen was actually the alias of a man named Jimmy R. Hudson, a known con artist with a history of fraudulent activities. The historian argued that Hudson had been involved in several shady dealings across the Midwest before disappearing around the time of Owen's death. One key point that gave this theory weight was the fact that Hudson had been known to use different aliases during his schemes. Could Roland T. Owen have been yet another one of his fake identities? If so, what exactly was he running from? Some theorists speculate that Owen's life may have been tangled in a criminal network, and the attack could have been the result of a botched deal or a dispute with someone from his past. The hotel's hidden history. In 2022, an investigation into the hotel's original blueprints revealed a surprising detail. Room 1046 was located in an area of the hotel that had originally been built as a series of storage rooms and offices, not intended for guest use. In fact, there was a hidden passageway behind the room that led to an area that was once used for * staff-only access. Could this have played a role in the crime? Some believe that the room's strange design and location could have been connected to the murder, suggesting that whoever attacked Owen had access to the hotel's secret passages, allowing them to * leave without being detected. If someone had been able to enter the room through these hidden routes, it would explain why there were no signs of forced entry and why the door had been locked from the inside. The alleged involvement of the hotel's staff. Another recent development came in 2023 when a historian of true crime suggested that someone from the hotel staff might have been involved. NA's analysis of witness statements from the time indicated that some staff members had a more intimate knowledge of Owen's behavior, suggesting they may have had a personal connection to him. For example, the bellboy who had reported seeing Owen late at night had also mentioned that Owen had been receiving cryptic phone calls during his stay. Could one of the hotel staff have been in on this? The theory suggests a potential cover-up or a botched involvement in Owen's activities. Lingering questions. Despite these recent findings, the case remains full of unanswered questions. Was Roland T. Owen truly an alias, and if so, what was his real identity? Who was he arguing with the night before his death? Why was room 1046, a room known for its eerie history, so specifically chosen? Could the hotel staff have known more than they let on, or were they simply caught in the web of an increasingly dark and dangerous situation? What was the significance of the scratches on the wall, and did they hold a deeper meaning that is yet to be uncovered? Until these questions are answered, room 1046 will continue to be a place of mystery and speculation, drawing researchers, historians, and curious minds to try to unravel the truth behind Roland T. Owen's brutal and puzzling death. The recent findings have reopened the case, but one thing remains certain: the story of room 1046 is far from over. All the credit goes to the respective owners. Yellow Thoughts, Yellow Heart.